The Islamist terrorists of Hamas are playing our Prime Minister Anthony Albanese like a puppet after that statement yesterday from the office of Hamas co-founder Hassan Yousef praising Albanese for recognising the non-existent state of Palestine. That was pretty terrible for Albo because it just confirmed what so many knew.
It rewards them and it emboldens them.
This is rewarding terrorists.
This rewards terrorism.
Rewarding and emboldening a terrorist organisation.
Because we can be rewarded and we can claim it as a victory.
Yeah, Albanese was playing with fire, going along with the narrative promulgated by Hamas, going along with their demonisation of Israel and wild claims about what was happening in Gaza.
Hamas is a terrorist organisation. It has no role to play. And Hamas, I've seen some of the comments that have been made about Hamas somehow being rewarded. Hamas is opposed to two states. This is the opposite of what Hamas wants.
Well, now Albo has leapt upon another statement from Hamas saying Yousef didn't issue the statement because he's in an Israeli prison. Well, yes, the terrorist leader has been in and out of prison, but 9 media who sourced the original statement say it came from his office in the West Bank. So all this had our Prime Minister today trying to blame the media for his diplomatic mess.
They say that the alleged statement from the person yesterday is someone who's been in prison in Israel since October 2023 and has no means of communication. What that should be is a warning to the media of being very careful about the fact that Hamas will engage in propaganda.
Really? Albanese knows his own office and those of other politicians constantly issue statements on behalf of their leaders. And how can he now pick and choose which propaganda statements from Hamas he believes and which he doesn't?
Well, what I say is that they shouldn't repeat Hamas's propaganda because it is Hamas which will engage in propaganda because they are being isolated.
This is too much, isn't it? Of course Hamas uses propaganda. Of course they can't be trusted. That's why Albanese has been so reckless buying their narrative and feeding them a propaganda victory by demonising Israel. Just about everything Albanese has said about Gaza, from casualty numbers and claims of deliberate starvation, responses to orchestrated and misleading photographs, it's all been parroting the Hamas propaganda that's amplified by the media.
This young boy, there are various images of him. It has been very powerful. It clearly has stirred a lot of global reaction. I mean, how have these sort of images made you feel personally?
Well, it's not just that image, but many of them just break your heart.
The images that we've seen, it's not surprising that so many Australians have been affected in order to want to show their concern at people being deprived of food and water and essential services. The Israeli government continues to defy international law and deny sufficient aid, food and water to desperate people, including children.
Yeah, Albo is a fine one to warn about Hamas propaganda, isn't he? Talk about pots and kettles. The bottom line is that Albanese has played into Hamas's hands by blaming Israel, by demonising Israel, by trying to appease Palestinian activists with the fantasy proposal of a recognised state, thereby easing the international pressure on Hamas to lay down its arms and end the war and hand back the Israeli hostages that it's starving and torturing to this day. As the Israeli ambassador to Australia said on social media, calling out Hamas propaganda is right. Doing it only when it suits politics is not. Hamas always lies about casualty numbers, about hiding in hospitals and schools, and about who really puts Gazans at risk. Truth is not selective. Spot on. So much of what we get in the media and so much that has been repeated by Albanese is just Hamas propaganda. Listen to this assessment from a former US ambassador to Israel. history will record that as Israel faced a brutal battle with terrorists from Hamas, and as Hamas continued to hold Israelis hostage under the most barbaric conditions, Canada, Britain, Australia and France all betrayed their longtime friend and ally in order to placate their radical Islamist populations. Yeah, it is a disgrace, and Albanese's pretense that he has a plan for peace remains laughable.
What the international community is saying, now that there are 3 generations of people who have suffered from conflict in the Middle East, both Israeli and Palestinian, that we need to find a path to peace.
That path, according to Albanese, is to demand Israel stops fighting Hamas and then just hope that the terrorists voluntarily disarm and disappear. They seem to hope, and a warning, I'm about to show you some more disturbing vision. They seem to hope that perhaps hostages like Eviatar David, seen here after 22 months as a hostage, they seem to hope he might be released, and the other hostages sometime down the track as some gesture of goodwill or something. This stuff is just so naive, so painful to watch, and clearly is shaped by Hamas propaganda. The United Nations vote on Palestinian statehood is a month away still. It's not too late for Albanese to admit he doesn't know what he's talking about, that he's got it wrong, and return this country, our proud country of Australia, to a position of support for the defence of Israel and its citizens in their liberal democracy, rather than backing the twisted narrative of Islamist terrorist groups.